This is for the win from 29 from the right hash. Koo's kick is good. Here is Durant for the win. DeRozan, James for the win. It's gone. LeBron James at the buzzer.
Let's do it.
It's just going to be a vent session, man. It's going to be a somber feeling to it all. We got Charles Dansby here. I almost said Barkley. We got Charles Dansby with us here today, man. It's about time we stop avoiding the topic. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, man. Got to? I think we got to, man. We owe it to the people. As Laker fans, we can't dodge the topic anymore. We are what? 3-10 now?
Yeah, we won a game last night.
3-10. I mean, so let's talk about the good first, man. We did win last night.
Right.
You know, Anthony Davis had his best game.
Russell Westbrook.
I feel like Russell Westbrook has possibly saved his career. Because if he would have came off the bench and still been playing poorly, that might have been wrapped. It'd have been curtains. It'd have been Carmelo 2-3 years ago.
Right.
What are your thoughts on last night's win, man? Let's start positive.
I thought it was a good win. Like you said, I think Russell Westbrook coming off the bench shows that it was just a fit problem. Right. It wasn't necessarily his skill level, just a fit problem. I like Lonnie Walker. I think he's a great player, athletic, 3 and D. Well, we're gonna work on a D. Definitely 3.
All right. He's shooting well.
Austin Reeves still looks good. So it's a lot of positives that we got to go on. I think AD doing what he did last night, showing that, hey, I can still put up 30. Right, I think he had about 33 and 15 rebounds.
37-18.
37 and 18, right? Classic AD, right? So I think we see that we can actually do something with this with some of the pieces on the roster.
I was about to say some of that.
It's just some thing. Yeah, but regardless of who they add to this roster, I don't think it's a winning roster. Even if we go and get, the players from Indiana, not enough. If we had Kyrie, I don't know, though. Still not with Kyrie?
Bro, the Nets look better without Kyrie. So one thing I'll do a quick Kyrie tip. I've come to the realization, man, like, as talented as Kyrie is, what team has he ever really made better? And I know that's like old sports cliche. Who do you make better? But think about the Celtics. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals. He comes back the next year, and they're not as good. They lose in the second round. Then he leaves. Then they're back in the conference finals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As soon as he left, the Nets, I think they're like 4-1 since he's been gone.
Right.
What problems does Kyrie solve for us?
See,
he has a score.
People want Kyrie to come and be a point guard. They want to come to distribute. They want him to do things that he doesn't do. LeBron just wants Kyrie to come and score. Just come and score. Come and give me a solid 20 plus a night, and his 20 and AD 20 come in different ways.
Right.
Kyrie's 20 is like you feel his 20. AD 20 is like he'll get it in the first half, and in that second half he won't get a point.
Oh yeah, that's been a problem all year. Yeah.
So
he's averaging like 15 points in the first half and 8 in the second, something like that.
Their 20s is different, right? So I feel like Kyrie comes and gives LeBron what he needs: floor spacers and instant offense. Right, instant offense as opposed to what he has now. And Kyrie can slow the game down for LeBron. Kyrie doesn't need to run the floor like Russell Westbrook do. He don't have to.
Like, I hear you. I really do. I hear you. But, like, I have years and years of evidence that, like, for whatever reason, it just doesn't elevate teams. And then,
Well, LeBron, he won a championship. He won a championship.
That same team went to the finals the next year without Kyrie. It wasn't the same exact team.
Yeah,
but with peak LeBron,
yeah,
LeBron was going to the finals. You know what I'm saying? So
he was dragging folks.
I mean, with last night's game, the Nets are a dumpster fire in themselves. They don't have bigs. I felt like we kept giving AD touches. Like we get into this this never-ending loop of he gets his touches in his first half. Second half, the defense makes adjustments, and then he stops getting touches. But it's also a matter of, we don't have space on the floor. We don't have shooting. So I remember, I think it was a Sacramento game. Yeah, that was a close game towards the end.
Right.
AD's in the post. Russ is trying to feed him in the post, but they have somebody behind him shading, not even guarding the corner. They're just no, you're not getting the ball to AD. And Russ is bro, I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
So, right. So, it's roster construction. But I will say, with Russ, we knew this when he got there. It was he's going to have to come off the bench.
Right.
It didn't take – one thing about the whole Russ trade is I feel like everybody – well, not everybody, but just about everybody's been right about everything they've said. It's probably not going to fit. He's going to have to come off the bench and run the second unit. And now, he's playing well. He's probably going to – right now, he's front runner for Sixth Man of the Year. I think he's second in scoring, first in assists, all of that. So,
and he'll probably be an all-star. Those Lakers fans are going to push him as an all-star. They're gonna try to push him as an all-star.
I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, the fans could potentially get him in there. Yeah, they really could. But so I agree. There is some good. That we have some good pieces. I was not a fan of the Lonnie Walker signing, with the mid-level exception, but he has been playing well.
All right.
And Austin Reeves and all of them, they're good pieces, but we're not talented enough to compete in the NBA. We're just not. We don't.
Are we a play-in?
No.
Are we a play-in team? Wow, we can't even make the play-in.
No, we're not a play-in team. Now, okay, so to be honest, I think if we get those Indiana boys, we can be a play-in team. I do.
Yeah.
I think we can be a play-in. Say again?
Is it worth it, though?
Is it worth giving up those 2 first-round picks for kids that are in middle school right now? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because the thing is, with Miles Turner, he's on a contract year, so we're going to have to give him an extension. We would have to be committed to, if we're going to use Miles Turner going forward. But here's my gripe with our whole approach since we got AD. That first year, we signed everybody to 1-year deals. And it's as if we just felt like we can just rebuild the team every year and win a championship.
Right.
And that's just not how things work. You have to build chemistry. That first year, we had a bunch of 1-year deals, but we still had guys that had been on the team, Kuzma, Caruso, KCP. So the next year, I felt like we had a great team. Just injury got the best of us. We beat Phoenix, in my opinion, if AD doesn't get hurt.
Right.
But we blew that team up, and we pushed all the chips in on Westbrook, and you can't blame Westbrook. It's just we traded 3 people for him, so now we don't have any flexibility.
Yeah, and 3 solid players, might I add. We traded 3 solid players, and then we didn't give Caruso the money we probably should have gave him, and it was right around the same amount of money I think that he wanted from the Chicago Bulls, maybe a little bit less. So
he was willing to take a pay cut. So the Caruso thing in hindsight, we whiffed on that. But at the time, they were so high on THT, they had to make a choice because of luxury tax and all that. So
just to 2 years later, get rid of THT because he can't shoot.
Exactly.
Minimum defensive player. When
exactly.
You had literally a 3 and D guy, and Alex Caruso, who was a little less on the 3, but definitely on the D.
I was gonna say he's not so much on the 3, but definitely on the D. But he also he was a good glue guy. Right. He could play off LeBron well. Mm-hmm. But THT had all those games where he was scoring 28 in garbage time, and it convinced people that he had a really high ceiling. But I want to say halfway through the 2021 season, I was like, I don't know what THT's role is. And I'm not sure how good he is.
Yeah. I think Magic Johnson came in originally, and what he wanted to do was surround LeBron with ball-dominant players. Right? That's what he kept saying. I want to surround LeBron with ball-dominant players to take stuff off of him. Then I think we realized that really doesn't work. Right, we don't need LeBron with ball-dominant players that can take the load off. We need LeBron to run the show. some kind of way they fell back into this ball dominant players concept, and now we have people calling for Russell Westbrook's job. Now they're saying Russell Westbrook is good. Now we have people saying we're calling for the GM's job, right?
Right. No, I mean, when that coming off the championship, we went and got the two players that finished first and second in six-man award, the six-man award in Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. I was high on the Montrezl Harrell pickup. I was a little skeptical. Say again?
I said I was definitely high on Montrezl.
Yeah,
definitely.
I was a little skeptical on Dennis Schroeder because we had the blueprint. LeBron runs point. He feeds AD, and you get 3-and-D guys around him. Like, that's the blueprint. We did not need to lighten the load off of LeBron. LeBron needs, like you said, LeBron needs to run the show. Like,
right.
The championship year, AD led us in scoring, rebounding, blocks, and steals, I think. He led us in, like, everything except assists.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, he wasn't our best player. A lot of LeBron haters were trying to say, AD's actually MVP. I didn't believe that.
Right.
But the way LeBron plays, it allowed for AD to, like, take on that load, and LeBron could still take over. But ever since then, we've been trying to put a point guard next to LeBron, and like you said, that it doesn't work.
It don't work. I also think that people really underestimate how great LeBron is as a point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't need to lighten his load. The man probably got 3 years left. 2 great years, 1 good year, right off into the sunset. Why are we lightening his load his last 2 to 3 years in the league? Right? That doesn't make any sense. Continue to surround him and what he wants to be surrounded with. But the problem with that is he wanted Russell Westbrook.
He did. You're right.
Westbrook.
We can't.
Maybe it's one of those things LeBron thinks he can't do it. Maybe LeBron thinks that he can't continue this level of being ball dominated and he needs to play off ball.
Yeah, but that's not his game.
Yeah.
That's not his game. But you're right. LeBron, for what it's worth, the GM, what's his name? Rob Pelinka.
Right.
He was ready to complete the Buddy Hield trade, which I was in favor of because we would have been trading away Montrezl Harrell, who would have been leaving anyways.
Right.
Montrezl, he didn't play much, and he had an expiring card. He was leaving anyways. And we'd have been moving Kuzma, who at times really struggled to fit in.
Right.
But we would have kept KCP.
Absolutely. And had money for Alex Caruso.
Right, and that as well. We'd have had that as well. But once we put all the chips in on Westbrook, it had to work.
Right.
Like, there was no it not working. I will say, I'm going to go back a couple years, though. I think after the championship, not signing Dwight was an issue.
Okay. That's different.
Because if you remember, we brought in Marc Gasol. And
right.
I thought Marc Gasol was going to be coming off the bench. But then we tried to start Marc Gasol and AD. And Marc Gasol wasn't shooting well. And we didn't have rim protection. Like, right. AD next to Dwight, AD next to JaVale, even though I wasn't a big JaVale fan. Again, there was a blueprint that worked. And we kind of went away from it. And I was high on Montrezl, but I guess I kind of forgot how bad he is defensively. He's not a good defender.
Right.
Montrezl's not a good defender. So, but you're right. LeBron wanted this. So let's talk blame pie. Who gets the biggest slice?
LeBron James. LeBron James isn't the best GM.
Yeah.
He's just, I don't think LeBron James is just the best GM, right? So LeBron James getting half of his pie. I mean, the whole 50%, I want him to get the half, right? And then I'm going to slice this into 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
The other side is going to Rob, and the other side is going to Frank. Frank could have solved this problem last year by bringing Russell Westbrook off the bench, and I think he would still have his job if he did.
But you know what? If you remember correctly, they didn't empower him to make those decisions.
See, that's what I think. When you're the head coach and you know your job is on the line, like you
just got to do it anyways.
Got to do it. They're saying everybody at this point in February is saying Frank's gone, right? You're gone.
Mm-hmm.
do.
And we
I'm
still had
gonna
a
throw,
chance of making the playoffs.
come on, man. I'm gonna throw the Hail Mary out there, and Russell Westbrook, you're going to the bench, right?
So
Not
here's what I
everybody
think, though.
new coach for doing it, and it's just like Darvin Ham has done it, and it's like Frank could have did this last year, and I think they would have been a little bit better because I think Frank is just maybe a better defensive minded coach.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Lord knows I have my Frank critiques, but I'm going to defend him a little bit here because my blame pie is 75%. Well, I'm going to give about 70% to Jeannie Buss.
Wow.
70% Jeannie
Okay.
Buss. I give 15 Rob and 15 LeBron.
Okay.
All right. So when Jeannie and them hired Frank,
And tread lightly because she's the first female.
I mean, that's fine. She can still be
tread
criticized.
lightly.
She can still be. It's not
Yeah,
misogynistic. She can still be
okay.
criticized. No, but like when they hired Frank, they didn't empower him. Like they picked his coaching staff for him.
Right.
You know, they picked his coaching staff. They kind of treated him like a puppet.
Right.
So when Westbrook first got there, he was not empowered to make the decision to bench Russ, and also Russ was not trying to come off the bench. Like he's bought into it now, and he had to fight with his agent, and he ended up going with a new agent. But like the reports came out like last year, Russ was like, "Nah, I need to bring the ball up." Like, nah, that's just what I do. Which, to be honest, it is what he does.
Right.
Which
And I
more
think
reason
they
why
could
he
have
needed to
been
come
a
off
little
the bench.
better. Yeah, they could have probably been a little bit better if he brings the ball up.
Right.
Because LeBron
Right.
can't. Oh, never mind.
But I put the blame on Jeannie because she doesn't have enough smart basketball minds that are helping her make decisions that are in the best interest of the team. I think like the Lakers front office is a close knit like family. Like you got to get people from outside that have different perspectives. Because if you want to be honest, since Jerry Buss passed, Jeannie Buss has that one ring,
Right.
like 2 playoff appearances, and that's it.
And that's
And
it.
to be honest, that ring that's LeBron and AD. Let's just be real. That's LeBron and AD. So I give her 70%. I give LeBron some of it too because LeBron puts so much pressure on teams to win now, win now, win now. Sometimes they just make bad moves. They make hasty decisions.
Right.
And I think he pushes for those hasty decisions. And at 15% AD, just because I feel like his body's failed him to some degree, but I also think he just doesn't have that mentality. It's cliche to say dog, but
Right.
I don't think AD wants to be the best player in the league.
Right.
Joel Embiid wants to be the best player in the league.
Absolutely.
Giannis wants to be the best player in the league. I just don't think AD wants to be the best player in the league.
Let me ask you this: do you think they still win a championship if they go and get DeMar DeRozan or Paul George instead of AD at that time? Do they still win a championship?
No.
Okay.
No. I think AD was so crucial on offense and defense, and the way he was kind of a change of pace star next to LeBron. Like, when it's all said and done, LeBron's greatest teammate of all time, you're going to have to say it's probably Dwayne Wade.
Right.
But I don't, people remember that year, after that year, we were like, AD's the best teammate LeBron's ever had.
Yeah. Skill-wise, he is.
Yeah,
I still think skill-wise.
Yeah, honestly, I still think so, but the last couple of years is going to mar that. But what he did defensively, because he came in second place, defensive player of the year, what he did defensively and offensively, giving you 26, he's giving you 26, he's roaming, he's, covering, he's grabbing rebounds, protecting the paint, and he'll switch on the guards. We put him on Jimmy Butler. I don't know if DeMar and Paul, what they bring to the table, could have lifted us to that level. Now, I mean, now if Paul George comes to the Lakers, I guess he doesn't go to the Clippers.
Right.
But he had to be traded to the Clippers. Well, I mean, AD had to be traded to the Lakers, yeah. So, at that time, DeMar wasn't doing what he's doing now.
Okay.
Maybe maybe he would have been invigorated. I mean, because going into the Westbrook summer, there was some talk about trading for DeMar, but it'd have been a sign and trade, and that'd have made us hit the hard cap. I was big on bringing Bradley Beal in going into the Westbrook summer, just because.
I think Brad Beal, man. For me, I don't know what Bradley Beal can really do. Right? You're playing on the Washington. You've only played on the Washington Wizards, and I just really wonder, like, are you good because you're on the Washington Wizards, or are you really the truth, Bradley? Because right now, I think Kuzma had like a 38, almost 40-point game.
Well, yeah, I would say 2 years ago, Bradley Beal was 30 a game. Right now, and I've been to 3 or 4 Wizards games now, he's definitely taking a step back. I feel like he's playing really passive right now, and he's not the same. But 2 years ago, when he was averaging 30, to me, I don't think he was like the truth, but he would have been perfect next to LeBron and AD.
Okay, he's a good third option.
He's a ridiculous third option.
Okay.
And even,
that I can see. Okay.
Yeah, and then even if, AD's in and out, he can pick up the slack. Before we close, I just wanted to call out Kawhi Leonard. I know this is a Laker episode, but I gotta defend Anthony Davis because he's only missed 1 game this year, and we like to do the street clothes thing. And last year he had 2 legitimate injuries. He tore, I think it was a meniscus, and he actually landed on someone's leg. Kawhi Leonard has played 2 games, maybe 3, in 15 months. And he came off the bench in both of them. So if we're gonna have these names which are cool, what were you saying?
It's crazy you said that because I was gonna ask you. Now that year we won a championship, AD, we had that break because of COVID. And we all think that's why AD was so healthy. I was actually gonna ask you, do you think he should follow the Kawhi Leonard plan? So it's kind of crazy you said that because I'm like, I don't know, man. So he do Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard plan so he can stay healthy for the playoffs.
Let's just be real. Like, it worked a year, but a lot had to go right for it to work that year too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Kawhi missed 20. Actually, that year was probably one of the most games Kawhi has played. I think he missed 22 games. He played 60. But Kawhi was like limping his way to the finish line. He had some good games throughout the Eastern Conference Finals. Don't get me wrong. He peaked around the second round with the 76ers. He still had some moments, but like Kawhi, if we're gonna call AD fragile, which is fair, we have to call Kawhi fragile as well because like even as he made it through a season, he was falling apart. Do I think AD needs to follow that plan? I don't. I just think AD needs to keep playing. Will there probably be some injury down the line this year? Probably. Because AD's kind of clumsy too. Like, let's just be real.
Absolutely. He's 7 feet.
Yeah. It's probably going to happen. But at the same time, if you want to be honest, injuries have also consistently happened with Joel Embiid too.
Right.
Like he's a better player than Anthony Davis, but so I don't think he needs to take the Kawhi plan. But I did feel the need to call Kawhi out because I feel like no one is, and he's not playing. And at the end of the day, people can mock us all they want because we're 3-10. But in one summer, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got together. LeBron and AD got together. Paul George and Kawhi got together. Only one has a championship.
Right. And I want to say my last take on this is the most negative part of all of this is that the Pelicans have a chance. Wembanyama, Zion Wilson, Brandon Ingram on a team, all thanks to the Lakers. If that doesn't hurt Anthony Davis or anybody out there, if that's not motivation, I don't know what could be. Wembanyama, 7 feet. Zion Williamson, 6'8", 6'9".
Wembanyama 7'4".
7'4". 6'9". And then you got another 6'9", 6'10" with a 7-foot wingspan forward, right?
Valanciunas is 7. I know I said his name wrong. He's a 6'11", 7 foot.
Oh man, that's a championship team in the next 2 to 3 years if they get that kid. 2 years.
Yeah.
Give them 1 year to just learn the league. Then, matter of fact, if Zion can stay healthy and they get Wembanyama, then they go to the Western Conference Finals next year. Like, they go to the Western Conference Finals, man. He's that good. So
No, the way I see it,
negative part of all of this.
the way I see it, that might be more reason to like make some type of trade. I know they said today they're waiting to see if Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant are going to change things around. Whatever, like you may need to make a trade just so they don't get Wembanyama.
Right.
All right, man. That was a good vent session.
Appreciate it, man. 25 minutes.
Next time.
Needed that, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us on the For the Win Vodcast.
Make sure you follow us on IG at For the Win Vodcast, on YouTube at For the Win, on Apple Music, on Spotify. We are everywhere. For the win. And we out. Peace.
Yes, sir.